Have you noticed people who seem older than their age? They are calm, quiet, composed, they don't seek attention, and they don't try to please everyone. Yet in their eyes, there's something deep, something rare that you hardly see in their peers. And you can't help but ask yourself, why are they like this? What happened to them? There are people who matured too early, and within them lie rare psychological traits that aren't always visible on the surface. Perhaps, while listening to this, you'll recognize someone familiar or maybe even yourself. The first trait is that they learned too early to be a pillar of support. When other children could be weak, they were already strong. When others could cry, they had to hold themselves together. When someone called for adults, they solved everything on their own. Their strength isn't a choice, it's something born out of necessity. That's why, even as adults, they can support others, but they almost never allow themselves to be supported. Deep down, the old phrase still echoes, "If not me, then no one," and this phrase doesn't make them cold, it makes them rare. Another trait is an extraordinary emotional sensitivity. These people understand others' feelings too well, not because they want to, but because at some point they had to learn to read emotions to survive. They notice the tone of voice, pauses, moods, hidden motives, and sometimes they see people more deeply than they wish they could. But the cost of this is their own fragility. They feel others' pain so acutely that they sometimes forget their own. Another characteristic is the fear of being a burden. If a person grew up in an environment where their feelings didn't matter, they learn a simple rule: it's better to stay silent than to interfere. So they don't ask for help, don't complain, don't share their struggles. They say, "I'll handle it myself." Even when a storm rages inside. To outsiders, they seem strong. But this strength is armor that a child once put on to avoid feeling unnecessary. Another important sign is that they choose solitude, not because they dislike people, but because being around others constantly requires giving attention, care, support, and energy. Being around people isn't rest, it's work. That's why solitude isn't emptiness for them. It's a place where they can finally relax, take a deep breath, and feel alive. It's not a flaw. It's a way of restoring themselves. And there's more. These people carry a strength they didn't choose, a strength that appeared too early and became their natural state. As children, they just wanted to play, but they had to grow up. They wanted to cry, but they couldn't. They wanted to be weak, but they had to be strong. Now they appear resilient, mature, reliable. Yet deep inside, the child who never had their childhood still lives. And it's that child who makes them so deep, wise, and caring. Yes, they became strong, but not because they wanted to. They had no choice. If you recognized yourself in these words, remember, you're okay. You're not cold, you're not closed off, you're not overly independent. You simply grew up earlier than you were supposed to. And everything you did to survive. But now you are an adult, and you can learn to be gentle, learn to ask for help, learn to be not only a support, but also someone who can be supported. This is not weakness. This is true growing up. You are a rare person, and you are not alone. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the channel. Here, you will never hear noise, only honest, deep reflections. And perhaps, one day, these reflections will help you understand yourself a little better.